Hi, my name's Tay with Lift Arc, and of course this is Frank Ray with Arc 3 Gases.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
You too.
What do you have for us?
I have a Miller 30A spool gun that'll hook up to the
Multimatic?
255.
Will it revolutionize my MIG
It may.
aluminum welding experience?
Yeah. I don't do a lot of aluminum welding, but it looks pretty good what I did. So
There's your testimony.
we'll see.
I'm bad and it's good.
That's right.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
You do it uphill? Oh yeah. Observe the technique.
Yeah. I don't even think about it. It's like
The bigger
muscle
cylinder.
memory.
Yeah.
If I had another one, I'd be a little more fast.
Yeah. The bigger cylinders move easier because they got momentum.
Yeah. You do the little 150s, it's like driving in first gear.
Yeah, right. Ooh. You get some freshings?
Yes, sir.
Large.
Merry Christmas.
Oh yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right, so.
How to hook a spool gun to the Miller Multimatic 255.
Yeah. And we're using a Spoolmatic 30A, which does not stand for 30 amps.
That's a little confusing.
It stands for 30 feet long, and it's aluminum.
That's 30 feet long.
30 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy hell. It is.
So if you're
Aircraft man.
doing dump truck body repair or aluminum tractor trailer repair,
Yeah.
you can get all the way up in there. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's looking like a Star Wars blaster.
It does.
Yeah.
Beep, beep. Can you edit?
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep.
You get 4 of those.
Each one cost me $100.
So like I said before, there's a gas solenoid in the gun.
Right, okay.
So this goes straight back to your cylinder.
Interesting.
Of straight
bypasses the machine
Yeah.
completely. So all the machine's doing is offering power.
Yep, you're getting weld power, and it's integrated in here. So you've got a wire speed adjustment here
Oh, cool.
for machines that don't have it, the option to integrate. Like you could hook that up to engine drive machines
Right.
that are predominantly stick, and that's
Like a Bobcat or a
control.
Trailblazer
Yep.
or something like that.
But all your controls will be on the face because they're designed to
So if
work
you're,
together.
if you're doing it down there, is this bypassed?
We'll watch and see. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I think it is because I
Is
didn't
it-
even mess with that when I was
Well,
playing with it.
I've completely messed with it now.
Yeah,
so.
we'll see. We shall see. So we have 2 connections,
I see.
a weld cable and a control cable. And you've got DINS connectors on the front,
Right.
but with the Multimatic, Millermatic series, the DINS connector has to be connected here. Like you couldn't put a DINS connector here and just plug it into the front. It has to sense a pathway to here. So we need to bolt this on.
Okay.
Right
What do you
there.
think that's a half?
It's a ½ inch. All our controls are in here. That's for your steel MIG gun, and this will be your aluminum. Do that at the same time.
It's kind of cool, man. The spool gun world is very foreign to me.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface on aluminum MIG welding with the HTP over there.
Yeah.
But
Miller has, I mean, they've been doing aluminum MIG for
well, hell, my
decades.
20-year-old 212 has a spool gun option.
Yeah. And it's a smaller spool gun than this one.
Yeah.
But this is kind of their standard, gold standard.
Yeah.
So all their machines come ready to run that spool gun now. So if I were going to be using a machine like this on a regular basis, switching back and forth from steel to aluminum.
Did you just stack the connectors? So
Yep.
now you don't have to swap out anything.
Right. But what I would do if there was going to be a lot of swapping back and forth is I would make another one of these. 2 feet of cable with a lug and a female
And
DINS.
a double, yeah.
And just leave it hanging here so that you still have that pathway that the machine wants to see.
Right.
But you could easily
Pull your
disconnect
spool gun
and
off, yeah.
hook it all up.
I gotta tell you, I'm warming up to this Multimatic 255 the more we use it.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of just solid wire welding with it last week. It's a pretty smooth operation, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done a good job with
Yeah. For an inverter machine, it felt real crispy.
Yeah.
So, a real quick aside to whoever wants to listen. My experience so far with aluminum MIG has been, well, first off, why you want to use it. It seems like it's faster. If precision is not top of mind, it's like if you're doing quick assemblies or frames that are going to get covered. Like, I know I have some friends that build custom signage, like marquee signs or backlit vinyl face signs. That the aluminum, the frames are made from aluminum, like box section, angle, stuff like that.
Right.
You're never going to see it, and you need to build them fast. So they always turn to a spool gun or a push-pull over TIG, because TIG, it just doesn't make any sense. It's too slow. There's usually more heat input as a result of TIG, unless you really got it dialed in, you can really move fast. However, cosmetically, like in the automotive industry, for instance, radiators, turbo systems, TIG is always the go-to, because cosmetically, it's probably a little stronger with penetration. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but
I guess in terms of strength, it's the same, as long as your procedure setup and everything is sound. But like on a exhaust manifold or radiator or something, you want to slow it down. Right. You don't want to be speeding through it, because you want to make sure
you're trying to plug holes. Like, it needs to resist pressure and leaking and all of that.
You're exactly right. The MIG is to speed it up.
Yeah.
With the pulse feature, you can get really nice looking welds, like almost TIG quality in appearance.
So you can pulse with the spool gun.
Yeah, we'll use the pulse feature. So TIG torch versus MIG gun that you'd use for steel. So just the obvious differences: you've got an electrode that produces your arc. Your filler metal is added separately. With MIG, your electrode is your filler metal. So it's serving the same purpose. When you pull the trigger, you're initiating an arc and the wire is feeding in. So speed and precision is kind of the main differences there. Also with TIG, you've got one gas, usually. Straight argon will do steel, stainless, aluminum, with a few exceptions. You need a mixed gas with MIG, just because of the way the puddle wets in, and that gas is what's shielding your puddle from outside contaminants. So slower process, faster process, more of a production. But if you're doing really thin material or exotic material, TIG is usually always what you want. So in terms of ease of use, MIG is more of the kind of entry level, getting started with welding, just because it's easy to run. Pull the trigger, start welding.
Glue gun.
Yeah, caulking gun.
Yeah.
It's caulking with fire.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. This is that third option.
Yeah.
The mysterious third option.
Yeah, so
that blends almost these two traditional schools of thought.
Aluminum, the process was originally developed for aluminum, and because they couldn't get past the
oxide
refractory oxide thing with MIG, and you could do it with TIG.
I was just explaining that before you got here, with why you use AC, because one side of the wave, it breaks the oxide layer, the other side of the wave puts the heat in. And this is DC.
We're using DC just like if we were steel. So the development of MIG just came from the argon gas just being able to feed the wire, because that was one of the big challenges, and it's still a challenge today.
Because you're pushing really soft wire.
Yeah, feeding that soft wire. So,
but still, oxide layer wise, you're sort of just dealing with
You're still just blowing through it with the arc, which is why it's always important to prep your plate first.
Would you say it's more important to prep it for this? Yeah. Specifically this morning, I grabbed the dirtiest piece of aluminum tubing I could find.
Yeah.
And hoping I could mess with the AC balance to get around having to prep this,
Yeah.
and I did.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good weld. That material's been kicked around and sat around the shop for a year.
Yeah.
Not cleaned or prepped, and it turned out okay.
Right.
So
and so you can see the white etching
Yeah.
is where the arc is like cleaning those oxides off. You don't have that AC sine wave with MIG,
Right.
so you're just relying on heat, straight
Burn
up
it
heat
away.
to burn it away. And anytime you can take that requirement away from the heat of the gun, then you're just welding.
Right.
So clean it off first to start with, and then you don't have any issues.
Which you've done.
I did, this had paint on it, so I hit it with a flat wheel
Oh, okay.
just to get the paint off, and you can see the difference.
Oh,
One
yeah.
that's been ground down versus old oxide layer.
But
And it's-
it'll develop a new oxide layer pretty fast.
Yeah, it
right?
starts building instantly, so it's whenever it comes into contact with oxygen.
Right.
It's basically the equivalent of rust.
Right. Granted, it does kind of stop at a certain point, but
Yeah, it'll
slow down.
It's almost like a protective layer almost, but the aluminum oxide melts at double the temperature of the base aluminum.
Right.
So you can imagine I've got to get double the heat to get through that oxide layer, and then I've got that much heat hitting half of the temperature, and so that's why sometimes if you're I can't get a puddle, and then all of a sudden it just blows
Blam.
out.
Yeah.
Because you get through that oxide, and then the aluminum's gone.
Right.
So there's too much heat.
Well, and aluminum's such an incredible conductor of heat.
Yes.
That all that heat just goes
Thermal
immediately to
conductivity
the other
just
side of
sucks
the
it out.
piece. Which is also why when you're done welding aluminum with a TIG torch, your electrode is white hot.
Yeah.
It's just so much hotter than
Yep.
steel. Well, let's try some joints.
Yeah. I brought some.
You want me to get some Scotch-Brite just to give it a final little...
Or a aluminum brush,
There you go.
just to get down to fresh aluminum.
One direction brushing.
Yes. You don't have, I mean, you can scrub it,
Yeah.
but going in one direction, you're moving stuff off.
Yeah.
And not just back and forth.
Grinding the dirt into the aluminum.
Yeah.
Something else I've been doing wrong. Why haven't you guys told me about that mistake? This has been prepped. It'd be good to see what happens with an unprepped piece.
Yeah.
See the difference.
Yeah. And it may be underwhelming, the difference.
Yeah.
You might not see
Which
it.
would be great.
We cover all the major brands, so I'm wearing my Lincoln Electric
Yeah.
jacket. I've got Lincoln Electric gloves. We're using some Alcatech wire, which is an ESOP company,
Okay.
and a Miller machine.
Miller machine. We've got ARC 3 protective.
ARC
I'm
3.
wearing Furic
You got
gloves.
Furic gloves.
And a Miller Wind.
I got my Miller Digital Elite. Got all those bases
No
covered.
brand allegiance. Except to ARC 3.
That's right.
And you guys sell
We
everything.
got it all.
Yeah.
The spool gun uses 1 pound spools of aluminum wire, and this is a tension control here.
Oh,
It
okay.
just swells out a little rubber sleeve
I see.
to keep the spool from unraveling.
But also
which is
you
a-
don't want much tension at all.
Yeah, you want it to flow freely through there, but you don't want it to unspool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big old mess. And we are using Alcatech 364 wire, alloys 4043.
Got it.
Which
Same
is,
as the most common filler I use.
yeah. So your 4043 covers the widest range, probably. I think I'm right about that. But it's more user friendly, easier to weld with.
Yeah. Okay,
We
so,
got power.
yep.
You're hitting 2400 PSI inside this regulator into a very small space. So if you just dump the pressure in there, there's some sensitive parts that could just blow apart. Best case scenario is it blows internally and you need a new regulator. Worst case, it blows a gauge off or this little T-screw comes flying out.
Becomes a bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear gas.
All right, so that's trigger, you pull it a little bit, you get gas flow but no wire speed.
Oh, nice.
Pull it all the way
You should get
and
wire.
the wire starts feeding.
Well, but we're not on spool. Oh, we are.
Everything is exactly the same as with steel. You can go auto set and you select 4000 series aluminum wire, flux for aluminum.
There you go. So you can do silicon bronze out of a spool gun as well?
Or out of the cabinet. It's saying spool gun
Cool.
now because we got it hooked up, but
Yeah.
you could run steel wire out of here.
Yeah.
But you just buy, it's a 2-pound spool, but it's the same size.
And that way you still, the range to
Yep.
me is the big
Yep.
thing. You can leave this on a truck
Right.
and run that all the way
Yeah.
out.
And then advantage to,
It's 3/64, right?
right, 3/64 wire. And we're like,
Quarter.
yeah, it's a 1/4 inch. And then when we do pulse, we'll just do that. It tells you what you need to do to set up, but we'll start without.
Sweet. Okay, I am your careful observer here.
Okay, so just like with steel MIG, we're going to have a push angle.
Okay.
We're going to be a little bit more stick out than with steel
Okay.
MIG. So we'll be
Sort of
3/4 of an inch or so.
Sort of a pulse
Yeah.
or a spray transfer level of stick
Right.
out.
Yeah, because with aluminum, your wire speeds are higher, and so you need a little bit more stick out to feed it in there. But also,
It's hotter.
when it gets hot, sometimes it'll blow that wire back and it'll stick to the tip.
Uh-huh.
So having a little extra stick out helps with that.
All right.
Which is also why your gas flow needs to be a little higher.
Right.
So 20 or so for steel, we're up on 30 right now. So
Ready.
there we go. I'm gonna pack this first.
All right. Whoa. It's not how I expected that to sound at all.
Yeah, it's more of a spray sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Holy cow. That's nice. There's no spatter at all.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
feels
it's
like
beautiful.
transfer.
To my untrained eye, or steel trained eye, it looked like you could add a little more wire feed. Did you feel that?
Yeah, so I wasn't moving that fast. I like my weld from starting right there to right there. That was really good.
I mean, that's a lot of material deposition.
Yeah, and if we increase the wire speed, there'll be more metal going in, but it's also,
Did we see if this changes anything? The dial on the bottom? Nope.
nope,
So when it's hooked up,
this is disabled.
okay,
This is for use on power sources that aren't,
it's just a DC source.
just any DC source.
A dumb source.
You would adjust your wire speed by this knob on the handle.
Right.
Which is difficult because it's on a scale of 0 to 10.
Yeah, I kind of wish that thing had some detents too. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're gonna hit that by accident.
Exactly. And then, you know, what is the range of this spool gun? I think it's probably 0 to 800 inches per minute.
Oh, so you have 10
Yeah.
chances. So
Yeah.
every click is basically 80 inches per minute.
Yeah. Yeah, but with auto set, it's all done. See, with auto set off,
You can do,
This
wow.
becomes-
Well, at
yeah.
least you can see it
800
there.
inches a minute, all the way down.
It's kind of
But
tricky.
then we can also
Nope.
not change it this way.
Interesting.
So now, I'll run the rest of that bead with pulse on. All the setups are the same.
Yeah.
No adjustments to make.
Okay.
Notice our wire speed went up,
Okay.
and then we've got that arc length.
I still need to come around on arc length.
Yeah. It's a function of the voltage. So in manual mode, if you adjust, turn this off, turn off auto set, as we adjust voltage, that changes your arc length. So if your wire is burning off like that, my finger being the wire and this is your arc,
Uh-huh.
as you increase voltage, this arc's gonna grow. So it's gonna get farther away from it's gonna be burning off faster.
I see.
And then if you decrease your voltage, your arc will tighten up and you'll get closer to your plate.
I see.
It's just giving you a standard arc length for what they've predetermined.
So more arc length means wider, you can deposit more material.
Yeah.
Smaller arc length, you can focus it a little bit more.
Right.
So
you're-
it's sort of a function like how you have frequency on a TIG machine.
exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly
that
right.
helps
on,
me.
on TIG, it's frequency.
Yeah.
And you can watch your arc cone narrow or wide.
Right,
So-
which affects penetration, heat input,
Yeah.
how much filler you have to add, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, directly the same on MIG.
Just a different word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, probably different process, but
Arc,
still.
arc voltage or arc length and voltage are directly related.
Yeah. The pulse thing. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do pulse.
Auto set. Pulse.
Auto set pulse.
No thinking required.
Yep.
Prove it. Man, that sounds good. Dude.
Looks like I know what I'm doing.
That's wild.
So easy.
And that one had even less of that soot. Like,
Right.
you can even see what looks kind of to be like a cleaning effect.
It's lovely.
I did not expect to be as blown away as I am right
good. I'm glad we were able to blow your mind.
now. Yeah, get in there on that. So the one on the right is standard
Auto set, no pulse.
auto, no pulse, and then pulse is on the left.
Right. And the advantages on pulse we've talked about before. You can do thinner material, and you can see that on the chart inside the machine. This wire, this machine, 14 gauge is your minimum.
Yeah.
On pulse, you can get up to 18 gauge thinner material.
Whoa.
And then using 3/64 wire, which is pretty big wire.
Yeah. Dude.
And the pulse allows you to use a diameter bigger wire than you normally would. So you
Right.
could use 3/64 instead of 035 on the same thickness material. The advantage there being bigger wire feeds better, so
I
you have
see.
less feeding issues. And the larger diameter you go, the cheaper per pound the wire is. Whether it's aluminum, steel, stainless, whatever, because
Right.
of the manufacturing process. They're drawing that wire through dies.
So they have to work less.
They have to do one more die to go to 035 versus
And then 023.
exactly. So 023 wire is the most expensive per pound among steel wires.
Right.
And then as you go up in diameter,
It's cheaper.
they come down, and it's not a big deal.
Because you're still buying it by the pound. But
Yeah, but if you're using a lot of wire, it can add up every time.
Well, with spool guns, you're going to be definitely changing spools a lot more.
Yeah.
So you buy probably several, you keep
Yeah.
10 or so on.
And with these small spools of wire, feeding aluminum is difficult regardless. But then you throw in that it's tightly wound around this little spool, and if you don't hold on to it just right, you're going to end up with a great big bird nest. So you want to buy something that's going to eliminate some of your feeding problems.
Yeah.
And that's going to be higher or larger diameter.
Right. I want to try this so bad.
You're up.
I'll do
Do the same thing.
the journey you went on.
Yep. Ready to go. No pulse.
Good luck, camera.
You weld better than I do.
Well, just a little start and stop.
Yeah. that
Which
looks
already,
nice.
I mean,
That's beautiful.
holy camole. I want this machine so bad.
You're a believer out of pay.
Yeah. God. This looks like a cartoon, like one, Marvin the Martian's sonic discombobulator.
My 2-year-old son, everything is a pure, and he would be losing his mind.
Dude, we
He's
got to
like,
put the Spoolmatic 30
oh
in his
man,
hands.
he's gonna lose his mind.
And they've really developed this process. The Spoolmatic 1 back in the day,
Yeah.
like the first one they came out with, it was the two-handed model.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big
it was.
boy.
It
Remember
was
that
the
World War
air
II
code,
one?
yeah.
It was huge and not nearly as sophisticated in terms of being able to adjust it and
Right.
how smooth it ran, but it was like
Yeah.
you're holding a baby.
Well, it's still accomplishing something
Yeah.
impressive, though.
Yeah.
Sorry if I've missed it, but if we talked about what the cost is for just the spool gun assembly add-on?
Yeah, so just the 30A spool gun, which will hook up to
All sorts of stuff.
practically any Miller machine. It won't hook up to TIG welders.
Sure.
Will it hook up?
Not
to the-
all. Well, I say that they've developed a MIG process on one of the Dynasty, so
You-
possibly hook it to that. But engine drives, any MIG welder, they'll hook up. So just the 38 spool gun, you're looking at about $3,000.
But
Not a cheap accessory.
But it's
by any
also
means.
If you're
not-
doing aluminum bed repair, I mean, that's,
Yeah, you
that's a
gotta
job.
have it.
It's also a little more than an accessory. Like you could really look at this as sort of
It's a wire feed.
welding
It's a
machine.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah.
just needs a power source
Right.
that you probably already have. That's nuts. I'm gonna do pulse, and then you have to try
yeah.
this.
You're ready to go.
That might be one of the most enjoyable wire feed welding experiences
Yeah.
I've ever had.
There's no spatter anywhere.
There's no spatter.
That's the big thing.
The beauty of TIG is that, yeah, it's a little more tedious sometimes, but there's no cleanup,
Yep.
right?
Right. And
So
with this,
that's why in the past, this wire feed aluminum stuff has always been like, ugh, no, because it's really dirty and chaotic and weird. At least the examples that we've tested,
Right.
which are not good ones.
yeah.
But other than some soot, which is just a byproduct of this,
Yeah.
there's zero cleanup.
And you can clean up the soot. Sometimes that's contaminants in your material.
Sure.
Like there's some oil or a little bit of oxide you didn't get off.
Yeah.
But you can virtually get rid of the soot with torch angle.
Oh,
Yeah. So you see the first time you had it spot on, you get a little soot at the end, but
I may have leaned back
your
too far.
your
or
torch
something.
angle can increase or decrease that.
Well, and there's soot on one side and not the other, so I
Yeah.
may have been
Yeah.
a little off this way. Oh, dude, Aaron, you gotta try this. Okay, so we're gonna start you off with no pulse.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounded different.
You are a little more stick out would be
Beneficial?
yeah.
Okay.
Still a really good
But it
looking
still
pole,
looks
though.
good.
I'm just gonna do that last little section, you know, with the soot and then rush the gut. See the difference.
Dude, isn't that wild?
That's really crazy.
With aluminum.
Yeah. With no tax. It's a pulse. That's really wild.
That's lovely.
Wish
Now-
we had that on that truck.
No kidding. The part is heat soaked now, right? So it probably won't need as much heat input.
Yeah, so hold a 3/4 inch stick out or so.
Yeah.
All right, now wait for it to reset. Okay. And we're gonna turn it down to 40.
Okay.
See if you feel it.
Seemed a little more calm.
It was, I mean, it's almost imperceptible, but the end of the wire burning off was closer to the material.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a full range of 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch, so it's hard to
Yeah.
see it. I'm going to see if it'll let me adjust while you weld.
Yeah.
All the way up.
Yeah, that got hot.
Yeah. I turned it up to, it was on 59.
You can see it.
Yeah, look how much.
Yeah.
I mean, you would almost see that the.
Yeah, it was
well,
getting ready to blow through there.
Oh, yeah. And that the first push was just
Yeah.
grounding issue, but
So really fluid puddle anyway, but then
Yeah.
that arc length is just really throwing the, when you're
I mean,
turning that up.
you, I
On
mean,
a
you,
big job. That'd be such a game changer.
God, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You're welding like a boat back together, you
Yeah.
know, 1/4 inch or 3/8 aluminum, just
Yeah.
run right through it. This is
Some thin stuff. I'm guessing it's 18 gauge-ish or so.
yeah, 16.
So same wire, We're going to put it in pulse because
Okay.
of the thinness of this.
Yeah.
But
And let's not clean it.
Yeah, let's not.
For
clean it.
fun.
Yeah. So we're just going to change this to 18 gauge.
Wild. And change nothing else.
Nothing else.
Okay. You say so, crazy man. With the flame. Very cool. I think this is thicker than 18 gauge.
Okay. I'm not really good on my gauge material.
Actually, I'd say that's
sounded
14. Yeah.
Sounded like my pig there a minute ago.
Yeah.
I just had to speed up.
You just gotta move. Yeah.
Plus, I couldn't see.
Look
because
at it. Look at it move.
My readers.
I wonder if maybe we split the difference at 16.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll settle. As it cools, you think it'll flatten back out?
Yeah. I don't think it will.
It's starting to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. You just gotta move faster.
Right.
But I actually
That
had
almost looks like stainless.
yeah, I had a little bit of a gap, which makes it even worse for
Yeah.
burning through. But with the pulse on,
Yeah, that's
you just gotta move fast.
This is a whole new world. Whole new world.
interesting that we're starting to see a little bit of splatter as we move down.
Well, you can
But
kind of
that's-
like the sound. Like
Yeah, you
the
don't want
machine sounds
headphones
like it's
in.
trying really hard to make this happen.
The sonic experience is something you really have to pay attention to.
And the difference between the pulse on quarter-inch plate versus whatever that is,
Yeah.
16 gauge.
I mean, that sounds like 40 hertz or something.
Yeah,
You know.
this really, the pulses have really slowed down
Yeah.
because they're trying to keep all that heat out of the material.
This is going to be a disaster. Here we go. That
Look at
That's
that.
great.
wasn't
Wow.
a disaster. Whoa. I was just sort of
Yeah,
pulsing myself.
yeah. You just got.
You can read the puddle. It,
You gotta
it lingers.
watch that puddle, and if it starts getting too big, you need to move faster, or you start seeing enough.
I had more time to think than I thought.
Yeah.
You know, like I was expecting to just like have to panic the whole time, but I would move and it would let me build a puddle for a second, and then I'd move, and it's my new favorite
love it.
thing. It's my new favorite thing. And these are my buddies' projects. They're outside shelf brackets, so there's
Oh, yeah.
nothing like overly sensitive about these.
Yeah.
He just made this quick little wooden jig for me, which was very nice.
Yeah. Most of these joints you'd be fine in regular, just auto set.
Yeah.
But the pulse is really going to help you on a out of position and particularly an outside corner. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're going to have material melting off. fast.
Which once I tack it, I can pull it out of the jig and do it. But the
Yeah.
more I can weld in the jig in any setting
yeah.
is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're pulse auto set.
You're already set up 1/8" material, auto set, pulse,
Okay.
ready to go.
Now, is it overly sensitive to grounding?
Just
that-
like with
that should
any
make
welding
it.
process, you just need to be properly grounded.
Should make it. I got a little misalignment. I'm gonna hold it and tack it. Nice. Go a little faster than that. Boy, that's intense.
Yeah. So that done by TIG, you're half the time probably.
Oh, dude, an eighth of the time.
Yeah. For this joint, since you're out of position,
Yeah.
you could might turn it down a little bit, make
Right.
it a little bit cold.
Sure.
'Cause
Would you
Yeah.
do uphill or downhill? Probably downhill.
you're, uphill, either way you're gonna have to move fast. Downhill you're gonna have to move faster.
All right. Well, it's ugly, but
Kinda burgery.
Yeah. Granted, when I TIG that, I just unclamped it.
Don't do it vertically. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just would take this off and then move this thing around. You know,
Yeah.
could take my TIG torch and smooth it back out.
Yeah.
Let's see, here I can probably go back. Huh?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at 14. Yeah, it's pretty cold. Sorry, I'm practicing on your parts, Jim. I'll grind these back down and do it right. But now I can do some fillet inside corner joint here. Yeah, much better. It's like when it's an actual job, I get real nervous. I just forgot everything you taught me over there.
Not playing anymore with scrap.
Ooh, gaha. He's doing the job.
The thermal conductivity of aluminum.
Yeah.
It's important to keep that in mind with your joint fit up and how you weld it.
Right.
So as you're welding this joint, for example, you're going to have to keep speeding up as you get closer to the end.
Right, because it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
And you know that with TIG too.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to keep that in mind.
Well, and with TIG, that's where it's nice to have a foot pedal. You can continue to back off as you get to the end.
And you don't have you can't back off here.
Yeah.
But you can increase travel speed or.
That's the next thing, huh? Maybe a downslope on one of these or something like when you let off.
There are machines with that sophistication that'll do that for you.
Well, and here's a joint now that's much easier with MIG than TIG, is if I had to get in here.
Oh yeah.
That really is tough on a TIG when you're doing inside and you're trying to feed without gumming everything up.
But like the thermal conductivity, you welded this joint, yeah, it's hot. You welded this joint from here to here.
Yeah.
If you'd gone from here to there, you probably would have blown that edge off.
I wasn't even thinking about it, but my instinct was
did
like,
it right,
don't do it. Yeah. And then the more you do it, the more you'll learn, like, I want to patch that hole. Like, that's a quick little.
You could pop.
Yeah, right.
Here.
Kind of get funky with it, a little French. No real way to fix that.
Yeah, it's ground out.
Wonder if I could sculpt it.
Oh, that's lovely.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about TIG, is you can just go over it as many times as you want. Well, mine officially blown. Way, way cool. Now, could this be used on my 212? Is it so old?
Need a control box.
Oh, okay.
I think.
But on the inside, there's a spool gun thing.
Yeah, it's a smaller spool gun.
Oh, okay.
So the answer is yes, but it's a pretty bulky control box that will just take weld current and 110 volt AC, and then that control cable will hook onto the front.
So the control box I could power with like a DC TIG welder.
You can power with anything,
Yeah.
just about anything that's got DC weld current and 110 volt AC.
Yeah, these things
To
aren't
power
even- Those aren't even in the same.
It's just a contactor in a box with the
Right.
circuitry to run the gun. That's how you can run it on like simple engine drives that
Right.
don't have any sophisticated function.
They're just
at all.
giving you power.
Yep.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind is sufficiently blown. I did not realize you could have such a clean, controlled. I've just been thinking of aluminum spool gun wire feed in general as like just chaotic, spattery and loud and hot and unpredictable. That was so consistent and controlled and lovely.
And it's not just the process with the right equipment, the right spool gun. A lot of it is Miller.
Yeah.
Because they're industry leading on the spool guns.
Yeah.
They've had this design, this particular spool gun for generations, and they do it better than most everybody else.
Because people are catching up in
Yep.
the MIG world. I
Absolutely.
get thrown all sorts of really affordable welders that have a nice MIG hardwire welding experience.
Yep.
You know, like that's getting pretty well ubiquitous, but that experience I have never had.
Yeah. When I've got a customer that's asking about MIG welding, there's a lot of different directions you can go. But if they want the option for spool gun for aluminum, you're gonna have to go Miller.
Yeah.
Because they've got it figured out the best.
Wow,
So
that's nice.
Really good process. Their equipment just works really good.
Team Blue's got you on the hooks for at least a while.
Let's face it, man. I've always been on Team Blue. I'm just, I like to chase shiny objects. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's that? What's that? Because you can't, if you're genuinely interested in the technology, it's hard not to wonder, like, well, who else does it?
Yeah.
I grew up with red and blue.
Right.
Well, who else does it? Now, a lot of people do it, but it's kind of cool when the top dog shows you why they're the top dog every now and again.
And when it comes to spool gun with aluminum,
Yeah.
Miller has always been top dog.
Damn, that's nice. Like the two things really that blow my mind is no spatter, three things. The cosmetic value. I mean, I've had TIG welds that look worse than that. And then the length, the 30-foot lead.
Yeah.
That's huge.
They make-
Even on the hardwire steel welding, I mean, literally last week we did a gate job where the truck parked in their driveway would have been easily within 30 feet of where I was working. So I wouldn't have had to unload anything if I had an engine-driven deal or even just something running off of. Man, that's nice.
And they make a 15A, which is 15 feet long.
Okay.
If you don't need the extended reach and don't want all this cable
Yeah.
tripping over, you can
Oh,
get
I-
a shorter one that's exactly the same. It's just shorter cable.
I want all the cable.
But most of the time, we go for the 30 foot.
Yeah. Give it to me. That's what our favorite TIG torches have 25-foot cables on them, and it's great.
Yep.
Throw the machine. The only issue with long cables is that the ground cable is never the same length.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. This machine has a 15-foot ground cable
That you can get for it. Yeah.
that comes on it.
Oh, for the hard
Yeah,
wire.
the regular
Yeah.
ground cable. So if you wanted the full length, it's easy to make an extension.
Oh, just get
Or
a
to make
double
long-
dents and yeah.
If you wanted your ground to be as long.
Right.
So
Damn.
yeah, they're normally not 30 feet long to match the spool guns.
Well, I suppose for fun, out the door, the Multimatic 255 and the 30A spool gun, what's that cost? Do you have that ballpark near you? You said that was about 3.
That's about 6.
This is about 6.
Yeah, so you'd be under 10 grand.
Yeah.
And that would get you steel, stainless, aluminum, DC TIG,
Right.
pulse capability, everything that is.
I think the only thing that bothers me about TIG on this is that you can't hook a trigger to it. It has to be lift arc. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're wrong about that. Because it was,
It would go here.
yeah.
So there's your Miller 1410.
There's the TIG and the,
Oh, wait, there's a foot pedal in here. I have been wrong.
so
For
you can lift arc, but it's fully functional with a foot pedal or thumb control, whatever.
I am eating my words actively. I have been spreading this information.
Oh,
Damn.
what a nice surprise though.
Cut back to, I should probably read the manual. Yeah.
Yeah, egg on my face. That's fine. Good. Now I want it even more.
Even more, even better.
Well, that makes the pricing on that package even more appealing.
Right. It does what it lacks in AC TIG, it more than makes up for in spool gun capabilities.
Right. So
And-
a lot of the uses you have for an AC TIG, you've got all the way down to
At least half of them.
14,
Yeah.
18 gauge.
And and then you only maybe for special cases, like for me, I would still want to TIG for turbo systems and intercoolers and radiators. But
Yeah.
if I'm making awnings for people, if I'm repairing,
Aluminum railing.
repairing boats, trailers, all that stuff, I'm gonna reach for that every time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's so cool. We're just gonna start making everything out of aluminum now. I mean, if this hasn't been an advertisement for this machine, I don't know what will. Go to arc3gases.com, make yourself an account.
Yep.
Then you can see pricing on the website.
You can order from our website if you get set up through our e-commerce.
Right.
Most of our stores are going to be stocking this.
Yeah.
Or could get one quickly. And we love to do demos. So come to the store.
I see why.
And say,
Yeah.
set it up. Say, hey Dan, hey Shane, I want to weld with a Multimatic 255 and a spool gun.
Right.
We'll set it up in our demo room and show you how it's done. And,
I mean, that's nuts. Try before you buy.
You'll love it, just like Tay loves it.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, please, if you haven't. If you like this kind of welding content, we're always doing more,
Yep.
especially coming up
More
with
coming.
Arc 3, more cool tools and problem-solving equipment. And we're busy as all hell, so we'll be able to use that really cool equipment on customer jobs, spec jobs, art things. So if you like welding, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.